Well, hello, good morning, everyone. And every day we rise is a great day to be alive. I'm Slim Overton, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks morning show. I'm here with the host, moderator, Thomas the Colonel Chapman, and guest host, Louis Bracy from Maryland. And this morning we're going to have a little discussion about it might go a lot of different ways, but we're going to talk about the next 4 years and the effect it's going to have on the next generation. So it can go any kind of ways and whichever ways the hosts want to take it. And I think Lewis has some interesting things to share with us today. But Colonel, right before you go, of course, I want to play this tape. I mean, this video.
Economy as one of the top
Audio.
issues driving them to the polls. President-elect Donald Trump has already laid out some of his economic proposals, and that includes extending the 2017 tax cuts. He's also proposed lowering the corporate tax rate to as low as 15% and eliminating taxes on tips and overtime pay. Trump's suggested that those costs could be offset with tariffs on foreign imports. CBS News contributor JD Durkin joins us now. JD, I want this to be really specific and valuable to our viewers. So, what could the Trump presidency actually mean for inflation, for the price of goods, particularly when we're talking about groceries, because we know that's a big issue?
And we certainly is, and we certainly know that the priority for the soon-to-be president is for tariffs, which economists do very honestly say these are taxes on imported foreign products that come to this country. So even though now President Trump is going to make a lot of promises and say that tariffs will help bring down the cost of goods and help raise wages, economists, especially in terms of food imports, they've still very much been arguing the opposite, Lana. They said there could be more short-term pain. That was actually something that even Elon Musk said before the election could be the case. I think the hope is that despite that short-term pain in terms of pressure at the grocery store and pressure on oil and these other things that Americans spend money on, that in the long term you could actually have a bit of that relief. But that's why we had those 23 Nobel laureates come out before the election and said when we compare the economic plans between Harris and Trump, it's Harris's plan that would be better for federal deficits and better for inflation, especially for that short-term pressure.
So don't expect that your grocery prices are going to go down anytime soon.
Okay, I just wanted to play that a little bit because we're going to talk about the effects it's having on the next generation, and you heard, and we all knew about some of the plans that Trump has, and we can see some of the moves he's making. But Colonel, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning,
Good
Louis.
morning.
Slim. Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to all those folks out there in Electron Land. And
Colonel, let me say before Leah's not here today, but it is her birthday, and wishing her a happy birthday from Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And another, how do you say it? Another dial around the sun or something like that. So happy birthday, Leah, and we'll see you next time. Okay, go ahead, Colonel. Sorry.
And as Ronald Reagan says, and I'll paraphrase it, it is good morning in America, but you are now getting ready to come into a perpetual darkness that you have voted, that 51% of America voted for darkness in our country. And so I'll start off with there. We have allowed a mini Hitler to be the president-elect of this country, a draft-dodging, pedophile, rapist, convicted felon to ascend to the White House. And we allowed the same message and how he got there. He used the same playbook that Hitler did. Tell enough lies and tell it more often and tell it louder than anybody else. And then people will believe it. So for that 51% of these fools that voted for him, you allowed what's going to happen to you to come to fruition. So I'll make one comment real quick. For 4 years, we listened to state-run TV. That means Fox and Friends, and it's going to be, and it's still, I still call it state-run TV. That the economy is so bad. Now that they've got the House and the Senate, they're going to make their economic agenda for the Trump regime. And remember, I'm not calling it administration. You have to call it like it is. And I hope the news media on what's left of free media call it like it is instead of administration, call it the regime. They're saying how bad it was in 4 years, but now all of a sudden over the weekend, oh, this is a great economy, which I already said that they would do it. They actually made that switch even earlier. I thought they'd at least wait till they got their tax cuts done. And so Trump will ride in, and for the nostalgic people, the first term, his first tour is the head of the free world. There used to be free world. He ran 2 years of a great economy of Obama's economy until he ran it into the ground with the COVID. He's going to have inheriting what one article said. He's inheriting the best economy, rising with potential over the last 50 years. This is the best economy rising that he's inheriting. So let us not forget, in 2 years when the midterms come, in 4 years when he time to come out, if he comes out, but he's already saying he may not come out, what he inherited and what's ahead of us. So now that we've got the economy thing here, I think on your monologue that you talked about this tax on tips and overtime pay, pennies on the dollar. What that does is, for those people that are reaching Social Security, and in the future for these young kids, it is going to shrink the viability of Social Security in the future, and it cut down to the next 6 years. We'll start having to make some cuts in Social Security and Medicaid. Well, in Social Security, because of this thing of tax on tips. Because basically, what happens is that same money you pay that little bit of tax on your Social Security, is that that money goes back into the Treasury to help Social Security to sustain itself. And since the House of Representatives will pass this boondoggle on tax on tips, what it will allow is, if I'm a corporate guy, I'll say, I'm going to take all my money, or the majority of my money that I'm making from the corporation, I'm taking it as a tip. And now it'll be tax-free. So you're getting ready to see the biggest robbery of the Treasury in our nation's history. I'll be able to take all my bonuses and reclassify it as a tip if I'm a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, I'm saying it now, and so you hear that. We're going to take corporate rate down to 15%. It's not really too low. I mean, that is just free money. And so if you take it down to the 15%, that's even before I do all the reductions that are built into the tax system. So you'll see these billionaires, just like Trump, that don't pay no income tax, federal income tax. They won't ever, and they want to do this permanently, put it permanent. And so we'll never be able to balance the budget or even come close to, but it will spur them with the deficits being so high. Somebody is going to have to buy these treasury bills. And if China is smart, they'll stop buying them. And our interest rates will go up, regardless of what the Fed is doing. Because if you look at the Fed decreased the rates back then a half point, the last Fed, and they have not done that. But you look at your interest rates on your home loans, which the government can't do anything about, because that's because of the increase in borrowing that we have to do. Interest rates on your home loan are going up. By the time he does all his shenanigans with the tax rate, you'll see double taxes. I mean, double the interest rates. So for those who are in the market to buy a house now, you better lock it down before Trump gets down.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there and whatever you're going to do, get out, buy it, lock your money down, because you won't be able to afford anything else after that. Tariffs. I stick a tariff on let's see, let's make them good. Cars coming in. They're scared of the car market in China because China has, for instance, this electric vehicle they have, which is about $15,000 US, that rivals Elon Musk's Teslas and this crap that he puts out. When I've always said, people boycott Tesla because you want to do anything, you want to boycott any product that is associated with one of the Trump supporters, such as oligarchs like Elon Musk. And so when I put a tariff on it, it's a tax. So that 15,000, he said, I'm going to add a tariff up to 200%. So now that $15,000 car that comes in from China, and this is only in theory, now it is 45,000. So nobody's going to, and that extra $30,000 is supposed to be going into the Treasury, but all it is going to go into Treasury and go to pay interest, because it means you have to pay 45,000 instead of the $15,000 coming in, and all the goods from coming in tax-free from Mexico. He wants to renegotiate that. He renegotiated the NAFTA during the first time, and it was a crappy deal then. What do you think he's going to negotiate there? Because he is not a negotiator. So America and young folks, especially those young folks that sat home, and I saw so many of them just sat home and with your weaves and your long fingernails and just being stupid and talking about, I want to do my research. You are going to suffer. So saying that, I'm gonna let you get in here before I go to his new cabinet. So when I talk about his cabinet, that is the real telltale of what he wants to do to you.
Yeah, before you get in there, Lewis, it's kind of all the things you said and good education about how this whole thing works and how people should have looked at it before they went to vote. And, with the promise of people in the middle class or below, promising, you talk about trickle down Reaganomics. This stuff ain't not going to trickle down. And you see the reports where a lot of people are realizing that, and some people are questioning whether they can take their vote back and things like that. It's probably not enough of them, or even if it was, it wouldn't matter now because you went in there and you voted before you had the right knowledge. But how can you be knowledgeable right after the election and all that stuff that was being said before the election, you didn't pay attention? But then all of a sudden, after you voted, you see some things being said where your mind opens up now, and it's too late. And now you're going to have to suffer the consequences. So just thought I'd add that because I thought it was quite comical to see that people were even, if those reports are true, that people were even trying to see, realizing they made a mistake, and I think that probably happens every election. But something as big as this, you shouldn't be going in the booth and making mistakes or guessing that you might benefit from a Trump presidency. And
yes. So let me for Lewis is back in there. Let me make a comment on that. So yes, now you think you made a mistake. Now the other, I think it's up for between 12 and 15 million people that stayed home. You are complicit with this because you could have turned in a few, like they say, like in the first time when he won, he didn't win those swing states by that much. If those people would have came out, we wouldn't have this clown show that is coming. So you are responsible for those who didn't vote. You're responsible. Now, for those people that now are now questioning how they voted because they see how things are going, you are responsible. We got to hang it on you. So for those Latinos that Trump is saying, you see the guy that's in charge will be in charge of the ISIS that has already said we're going to take families. So when he locks up and puts your grandmama, and then even though you're a United States citizen here, born here, and your parents came here illegally, and you thought that, yes, my parents are here, they came here illegally, but they're good Latinos. Good Latinos. They don't break the law. No, they broke the law by coming here. So they're going to be thrown in the same cage with grandma, and your daddy, your mama, and anybody else that came with it. And if you object, you, even as a United States citizen, are going to be in the same cage and on the same sea, on the same plane heading to Mexico, or dropped off in El Salvador, or wherever they decide to put you, without no due course. And you think somebody else is going to fight for you. Well, we had it on the show. What are you going to do when they come for you?
Bad
There's
boy.
nobody left, because there's nobody in the House and the Senate that's going to speak up for you. They'll speak up, but they have no power to save you. So you just got to let it happen. And so you talk about the inflationary. So all those folks out there that's picking a lot of Latinos, they do a lot of stuff out there, picking strawberries and in the farm industry and all that. If he does what he's supposed to do, what he's already said, rounds them folks up. Think of the grocery. You talked about the cost of the groceries. Let's just think about so we need to do a check where the cost of groceries and everything is now, and look at it in 2 years, or next 1 year and 2 years. They'll double, even though they'll say we got a great economy because we got, everything is okay, because they'll be given the propaganda from state-run TV. But your costs are going to double and triple, because those same folks that he's deporting are the ones that's that pick and do all the labor on the houses. And if you go to any construction site, who's doing the work on those houses? You think Americans are going to do that? You think Bubba is going to get his hands dirty? No. Bubba is not going to be out there, because he's got his white sheet over. Well, he don't have to have the white sheet over his face anymore, because he's just a downright racist coming out here. He's going to get him a government job, because we're going to take away the educational requirements. You don't have to go. You can get you a GS-15 without a high school level education if you're a Trump supporter now, because they want to take away all that stuff. And so our government is about to fail. Our economy is going to fail when he gets all this stuff enacted. You'll also see one thing here before I let you in, Lewis, is that he's already said that they're going to start targeting blue states, because one, he wants those blue states that are done, that are thriving economically. He wants to turn them into the Arkansas, the Alabamas, the Mississippis. He wants them to fail, and all the federal dollars will be going back down south to be stolen by the oligarchs or the billionaires, and the bubble will give them some no-show jobs to lift them up. Mm-hmm. But he wants to level out this country. So what say you, Lewis? Did I go too far for him? Because the truth hurts.
You haven't went far enough. You can go further. You can dig even deeper.
Yes.
Because this person, this animal, he will come in, and we have already seen it. He say promises made, promises kept, and now no one will be able to stop him. And he knows that now. The worst thing that you can give a criminal is keys to the city. Mm-hmm. And America has just given a criminal the keys to the city.
Mhm.
And everything that you have said, you can crystallize it based on what happened when he was in before.
Mhm.
Now, but what pisses me off the most is what you was talking about of all these people with so-called buyer's remorse, right? There's no such thing as buyer's remorse. You knew exactly what you was getting. And this man, I've been telling people for 12 years now, Trump is not a superficial person. He tells you exactly what he's going to do. Now, Maya Angelou, we done heard her statement over and over again. If someone tells you they're the devil, believe them. Now, I don't understand just what is so hard that people to understand about that. The devil has told you who he is. He hasn't tried to whitewash any of it. And you're going to walk into the booth, as James said, and you're going to have these different thoughts all of a sudden. I mean, come on. You cannot be any clearer than this. As I said when we was talking before the show came on, this is a choice purely between just plain good and evil. And if you can't choose the difference between good and evil, you're not really a human being. You know, because you all these so-called religious people who supposed to believe in God, what would Jesus do? Where was your thought processes when you looked at the fact that this man was a rapist? When you looked at the fact that this man was a tax cheat, and not only that, the man had sex with a 13-year-old girl. You never heard the media push that issue. She made an affidavit. And when he made that statement in public saying, this is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not, right? The young lady in the affidavit said that when he got on top of her, she said, I don't want this to happen. He said, this is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. And it's in the affidavit. Now, why didn't the media, you know, I've sent stuff to James many times about how complicit even the regular media is in with this man. The regular media, I'm talking ABC, CBS, NBC. Now, MSNBC, and I know both of you watch it, they're different. I don't know why, but they are. But the regular news media have not hammered this person and held his feet to the fire on any of these issues. They'll come on automatically, and you can ask them, what about chocolate? And they'll automatically say, turn it to a conversation about the border. You can ask them, what about the price of tea in China? And they still go back to all these so-called people coming across the border. You could have clarified, especially the things that you did on the economics. I want people to really focus on the economics of what you laid out. And everything you laid out is the truth. And it's the whole truth. And you saw it coming. Now, and he said it right in public. He told all those billionaires that he invited to Mar-a-Lago, I'm going to make you rich as hell, make you rich as hell before. Now, the Democrats did air that. But what they didn't do is they did not hammer it to people as they should have. You know, then I will switch, give a chance to break in. The thing about Donald Trump is what I tell people all the time, the same thing about Hitler. The reason why people believe this crap so much is that they tell them every single day. You go back to what Hitler did. Now, this was before cell phones. This was before even the internet even existed. The Nazi regime posted this information about Jews and stuff all over Germany. And they had their henchmen telling people it every single day. And I said to all the Democrats that I had a chance to get close to, why aren't y'all doing the same thing? Why aren't you talking about the evils of this man? They keep saying, well, we don't want to run on just against Trump. Yes, you do. You need to run against Trump. They keep saying, well, we need to emphasize the economy. Yeah, you do. But you got to emphasize the fact that he screwed up the economy. He didn't make the economy better. You can't even talk to these N-words for Trump. And I know both of you have talked to these N-words. The only thing they keep talking about is the economy was better for them under Trump. But you ask them, how was it better? They can't tell you how it was better.
Right.
They keep saying it. And then they go to that measly $1,200. You know what black people do with their money, especially N-words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they do with their money. You know that damn money was gone in 2 days. You
Yeah.
know it was. And so you're going to talk about for all 4 years now. Oh, it was better for me under Trump. The economy was better for me. Okay. And then I say, how? He sent me $1,200. He sent me $1,200. I say, fool, he didn't send you no $1,200. That money came from your Democrats. The Democrats did that. He just put his damn name on a check. He didn't even want you to have it. He wanted you to have $600.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats made it $1,200. Now, why Democrats could not cement that into these people's head? And I don't understand that to this day. To this moment, I don't understand how Democrats did not beat people over the head with the fact of who actually gave you the money. And Barack Obama said it's crystal clear. Why you people don't understand this, I don't understand it. I gave him the best economy that any president has ever handed another president in our lifetime. That includes Nixon and Reagan. He handed him the best economy. Mm-hmm. He drove it in the ground. And but Barack told you that. Mm-hmm. Robert Rice told you that. You know, it makes no sense that you're going to tell me that 14 million people did not see that coming. And so, like I say, I wanted we'll get that out. And then you're going to move to the point about all these idiots he appointed.
Yes. Well, you know what? And you are so correct. And so here's the other piece is we talked about state-run TV, and you mentioned MSNBC. You can look at how the coverage of the Trump regime has turned now. Even on TV and all these other channels, to include MSNBC, they are running scared. They are scared to tell the actual truth of the effects of all of these people they're trying to put in and what they're going to do with these various agencies. Because one, and I'll use the first one is Brandon Carr. He's nominated him to be the chair of the Federal Communications Commission. He did that on Sunday. He was one of the writers, wrote a chapter in the Project 2025 agenda. And so they want to, and he's already espoused saying, if your news media, TV or TV station or your newspaper has unfair coverage deemed by Trump, they want to take your license away.
That's right.
They want to take those. So already they are getting ready to tone down the rhetoric. Well, not even tone down the rhetoric, tone down the truth. And then if you tone down the truth or not even publish the truth, then just like you say, Hitler has overtaken this country, meaning Hitler/Trump has had a debilitating attack on the free press and our First Amendment rights to talk, to discuss things freely. And that is just an example. And if you look at that, you talked about that $1,500 check, whatever, that COVID check, that was during COVID. Who caused COVID to run rampant? Barack told you over a million and something plus people died in this country because of COVID. 600,000 of them people, Americans, died just because of the inactions of Trump. What are you going to do next time if we have another COVID or some kind of pandemic come, and you have John F. Kennedy Jr. at the head running the, who is a lawyer, who is a crazy lawyer, that is anti-vaxxer, saying the same thing, saying there is no COVID or COVID-2, there's no vaccine, we're not going to spend any money researching the next COVID vaccine so we can close that down. And you still have Donald Trump saying drink some bleach or stand in front of an ultraviolet light and it'll kill you. It'll kill the virus. I hate to say it, we probably need another COVID to come here and wipe out middle America till they wake up. So
yeah, Colonel. And as you talk about that, and you talk about Robert Kennedy being the health director, they even talking about the anti-vaccine people. You're seeing a rise in the simple measles and things like that, because you got all these people that don't want to take vaccine, stemming back from COVID. And now you got this guy coming in there now that doesn't believe in vaccines, and he says on his reports he's not going to stop anybody from taking vaccines, but he can stop those vaccines from being as available as they have been. Mm-hmm. And then we've already seen a rise in stuff that has been, they even had some polio cases. And when is the last time you heard anybody having polio? And by the way, I want to, Olena Lewis made a comment there, and the last name seems familiar. That's Lewis. That's Lewis' sister. I'm sorry. Sorry, Olena. That's Lewis Brace's sister, Olena. And she made a good comment there. I just wanted to share that with the people. But, it's kind of strange. But I want to ask you, and Lewis, I understand your frustration, and I'm frustrated too, because I remember the show before the election. We both thought, I had reservations. You were pretty confident that it was going to go our way, but I had reservations. But I thought she was going to win. So I was just as surprised, and it took me a few days to sort of deal with that, and still trying to deal with that. But I understand your frustrations. But look, where do we go from here if we're going to deal with it? I mean, do we just sit back and let them do what they're going to do? I think one of the problems we always had with elections, especially if they go our way, even if they don't go our way, we should start the next day and trying to figure out how we're going to hold the people that we elected accountable. And if it doesn't go our way, what kind of plans are we going to do? Because it's obvious they had their plans. They were patient enough to put those plans together into 2025. And years ago, not the last 4 years, years before that.
Yes, right.
And all they were waiting was to get in there, get the Senate, get the House, get the Supreme Court, and they can just about do anything they want to do. But what can the people do? As we talk about, all the things that they did and that didn't happen, what do we do going forward? Because not everybody can lead the country.
Well, I have the plan that I sent it to you, and I hope y'all have a connection with your Congressman Bobby Scott.
He's enforcing quite a bit
in your region. Ask them this very simple question, and Colonel, you know what I'm going to say. And I sent it to you before I went on my cruise. This is the plan. The plan is very simple. Why hasn't they brought out the 2016 documents proving that Trump colluded with the Russians in 2016? Mm-hmm. Now, all you got to do is read the Mueller report. Now, even the redacted part makes it crystal clear how close his entire administration was colluding with the Russians. Now, ask them why they are not pushing for Biden to release all the stuff. Now, he's the president right now. And this is what kills me about Democrats, because I have been writing for years that the Democrats don't know how to play hardball.
Mhm.
All right. Republicans play hardball 24/7. And as you just said, they have been doing this for years. They planned this for years. So now we have until January the 20th. And I want y'all, meaning everybody that's listening, to call your local congressman and ask them to demand that Biden release all the information on Trump from the 2016 interference. Okay? If you do that, you will show exactly how they did it. And I keep telling people, this election does not make sense. It does not make sense that you're going to tell me that 14 million people just dropped to the wayside like that with no explanation. And the explanation that they're giving does not add up to none of the exit polls. And like you said, yes, I was very confident. I sent you the information, Colonel. I hope he sent it to you. Was the Michael Moore report. Me, Michael Moore, and James Carville have been accurate on every election in the last 20 years. Michael Moore laid it all out, and he laid it out graphically in the polling or pre-polling and everything. Now, how did this election go from being, by even the Trump's people, estimation to being very close, razor thin? Matter of fact, his own people say it'd be razor thin. How did this thing go from being razor thin to a near, I use the word blowout only because he allegedly swept all these states, okay? States that he was not leading in. People got to ask those questions. But what I'm saying is the way you can hold this man up from January 20th is if the president, who is the president right now, who has all this superpower that a Trump gonna have on 1 minute after noon on the 20th, why aren't Democrats pushing to use their full power right now to expose Donald Trump 100% for colluding with the Russians, which is how he became an illegitimate president the first time? And I'm gonna tell you this, all you got to do is go back to John Lewis and Maxine Waters. Matter of fact, I'm calling Maxine Waters' office today to ask her why she's not doing it. They went to a secret briefing. It was an NSA briefing. Now, y'all know I worked at NSA for 28 years. When they send the briefers to Congress, they send one person. He comes in a black briefcase. He opens up his briefcase. He tells the people and shows the Congress people. He only shows, I think it's like 12 of them. Only 12 of them going to come into the room that tells them everything that happens. Everything. Am I right, Colonel?
Yes.
He tells them everything that happens. He folds up the briefcase. He drives them back to NSA. I know because I know when the vehicles left, and I know when the person came back because I was one of the officers at the gate. When the persons go, when he leaves and when he comes back. He goes straight back to the director's office. They don't even leave this information there. They don't even leave it there. When the congressmen and the senators come in, they can't bring the cell phones. They can't bring pencils and paper. All they can do is listen. They tell them everything. Maxine Waters and John Lewis walked out of that out of that secret briefing, and they said Donald Trump is not a legitimate president. They told us. They told us. Even Mark Rubio was in the corner shaking his head when he came out of that briefing. Go back to what Mark Rubio said about it. Now, people, I'm not making none of this stuff up. You can research all of it. And Colonel, know I'm telling you the truth. So President Biden and Vice President Harris are in office right now. They can walk right over, give the order, and say, unredact all of the Mueller report for the American people can see and read exactly how Trump colluded. Then release all of the documents so that the American people can see the solid ties that this Trump administration had with Russia. Now, that's the plan. Now, the only thing is, how many people are going to pressure their congressmen and their senators to do that? Now, I'm saying all this to say this. Release all the information. show exactly how it was colluded, then you will find out how this man won this election this time. And he came out. Now, remember this now. He did not come out until 2 weeks before this election talking all this crap about how he going to win with so many numbers. When did he start saying this? He's saying this when Elon Musk came on board officially. That's when he started talking all this stuff about we're going to win with so many numbers, they're not going to know what to do with it. And he even went to the point of saying, including the popular vote. Now, people don't, you got to listen with 3 ears and 3 eyes. That telling you they knew something was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And to the bottom of my heart, every fiber of my being tells me that this election was corrupt. And this is not sour grapes, because I asked everybody and I haven't received one note from anyone. Colonel, if you have it, send it to me. Who told anybody that this man was going to win with almost a 10 million vote difference? Tell me the person who came out, the prognosticator, who came out and told the American people it's going to be a bigger win as it did. Tell me one person. One person. Yes. You can't find that person because that person don't exist. Because everybody knew this election was supposed to have been razor thin. Now, had Harris lost by 1% to 2%, I wouldn't say a word. I would say, wow, that was a close election because they said it was going to be razor thin. But for him that went in almost a blowout, meaning I'm talking about the swing states now, and then at the end, and then I'll shut up with this, for us to believe that Trump became popular overnight, you would have to believe that he is more popular than Reagan. And I liked Reagan. I really did like Reagan. People always surprised me and say, Bracer, you like Reagan? And I won't get into why.
Did you like him as a cowboy? Did you like him as a cowboy or a president?
You know why I like Reagan? It's a long story. But the colonel, well, James, you're old enough to remember this too. We all in the same age group. Everybody keep forgetting Ronald Reagan was one of the leaders of the civil rights movement when he was an actor. He also was a union man, and he fought for black people to get into Hollywood. A lot of people don't know that. I believe he was really a good man in his heart. I just think he just got around people like Dick Cheney and everything. But I wish Dick Cheney would come back right now. I'd rather have a Dick Cheney any day than to have what we got now. This corrupt animal that we have now. But the colonel would tell you, I have not said anything that is not facts. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying we have the plan. It just takes guts to do it.
Yeah.
And I have called my congressman before I left to go on my cruise. Okay. I'm going to call Maxine Waters' office today. I hope y'all call Bobby Scott and the other people and demand that they do that. Because like I said, if the Democrats don't fight now, they will never get another chance. They will never get another chance. You got to fight now. Don't just roll over.
Well, you know, and I agree with you, but I think the Democrats historically and they right now, the group of Democrats we have now, the majority of them are weak as wet noodles. They don't fight. They always say, we're going to fight for you. You prove us that you're going to fight. I think that now you're in the minority. People in the Senate need to pull a Mitch McConnell, get them all together, all these 47 senators and the new ones are coming in, and say, we're going to fight and say no to everything. Even good bills. You can work on the bills with them, try to change the bills, but vote no, and have them, the Senate Republicans, to pass everything on a line lineup for everything that comes down, to include all of the judicial and all of the appointments that are coming through, and put holes on everything. When he wants to put somebody up there for Undersecretary of State or whatever, put a hold on it. That's the same thing that the Republicans did under Biden and Obama. That's why they never got anything done. And so you have to fight everything, and then you just wait the clock out. They're going to push a lot of stuff through because they're already talking about the tax cut. They're going to pass that by I can't think of the term of it.
Consensus.
Yeah. Well, not by consensus, but they're just going to do 51 votes and get that by and make it permanent. So they're going to permanently screw America. And then as soon as they get this tax cut, they'll look, oh, we have to cut the budget. So now we're going to turn to Elon Musk and says, oh, we have to gut everything in housing, cut the educational budget. We need to cut the FBI because we don't want anybody looking at us as we steal the money. And all those people that need assistance for food assistance, all those folks that need assistance for heating assistance or any kind of Section 8 housing, all that's got to go to pay for these tax cuts. And so for that mother with 4-5 kids or whatever that's been living in Section 8 housing for generations, you'll get this notice and saying, this program no longer exists. And if you're going to get it, you can only stay on it for 6 months. I'm telling you, here's the plan. And that is it. You're struck off it. So you are in this, you and your kids are in the streets. And so the religious right will say, where's the fathers at? We have to go after the fathers. And that's the same black men that didn't go out and vote.
Hey, Colonel.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say before we run out of time, about the appointments. You see people talking about they're surprised at the appointments, and some of them you might be surprised at. But didn't he tell you exactly what he was going to do? He was going to put people in there that he thought were loyal to him. He wasn't going to make those mistakes that he made the first time and have people in there that he had to fire because they didn't bow to his every whim. And he's trying to put people in there that if he tells them to go shoot somebody in the head, they're going to do it.
That's right.
So that's what you're seeing happening now. Whether you are surprised that if these people are competent or if they should be in that position, he's not concerned if they're qualified or should they be in that position. He wants people in there that are ride or die with him. And that's why you see all these odd picks for these positions. That and most of these people have those crazy ideas just like him. So and then Colonel, we talked about it earlier. He's even trying to get past the Senate confirmations. And what's that term you brought up, Colonel?
Yeah, by recess appointments.
Recess appointments. He's trying to get past, and he even now thinks he should be president now. He doesn't even want to wait till January 20th to be sworn in, because he's making moves now like he's the president.
And that's the thing that pisses me off too, because he's not president. The Constitution says you're going to have one president at a time. That's why I want to emphasize the need to release all those documents. Now, and you hit it, James, right on the nose. He is not even waiting. He's trying to say now he should be the president this moment. He put out something. My eyes was changing because I saw some things that was coming on the shot here about what you just mentioned about how he wants to do the recess appointment, and I want everybody to remember, and I know the Colonel do. When I personally said you can send a letter. That when Obama had his last chance to put somebody in, he refused to do it during the recess appointment because he was being so nice. He was trying to not to ruffle the feathers. I said, and y'all know I use a lot of French. I wrote to the president directly, to the White House communication. I said, F that. You need to go and ram this thing through. This is before Trump rammed through that last person that he picked to the Supreme Court. See, this is what I keep telling people. Democrats just don't have the kahunas to
Yep.
do what they need to do. I mean, Obama could have rammed through Merrick Garland, and I'm ashamed of Merrick Garland, by the way, as he had acted so far.
He's
Obama
never been Colonel's favorite.
rammed through Merrick Garland himself with a recess appointment. And what people don't understand is once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
It takes a hell of a lot of work. You have to have the whole sections of Congress and the Senate and everything to pearl you out of a recess appointment. And that's a lot of work. So had Obama listened, and he didn't, he would have had Merrick Garland in there. But he didn't, because he was trying to be nice. This is what I'm telling you why, y'all, we got to get people to call our senators and congressmen and say, the hell with this nice stuff. You don't have no time left. You don't have no time left. You got to force these things. And you talking about these nut jobs that he's bringing in. The man told you he want people who are loyal to him. All these people have to kiss his ring. Just like Mike Johnson came in and kissed his ring. Just like this wacko, that Florida congressman kissed his ring. Just like Kennedy did. Kissed his ring. Now, Kennedy's a nut job. They don't even want him to come back into the Philippines anymore because he went.
So where the brothers at that was blowing his horn? Where are they?
They're gonna be right where the colonel just talked about those welfare people. All those N-words, right? All those N-words, and I have one of them, a nephew that I have disowned. I have actually disowned him, and I told him to never speak to me again. And if people know when I say that, I mean that. You know, don't ever speak to me again. And I told my relatives, if you invite him to any event, don't invite me. Because if you do, there will be a fight. There will be a fight. Yeah. I don't want to even be in a room with an N-word that voted for Trump. I want to hit on something real quick, James, because it's very important that the colonel brought up. I'm one of those people who knock on the doors. In the election 2 years ago, we went to the hood. Now we grew up with people in our neighborhood. We had people from Lincoln Park and stuff that, that were considered to be Section 8 people. And I ain't putting down none of these people. But what pisses me off is when you knock on the door and you ask them about voting in this election and the last election. And they say, well, the government don't do anything for me. Now, I was with a black woman when I went knock on the door the last time. She just happened to be a retired colonel. And I ain't had to open my mouth. This black woman told into these women that came to the door of these babies in their hand on WIC babies, right? And she told into them like I have never seen before. And it makes no sense that you in government assistance, housing, number one, your baby's being fed by WIC, number two, your kids eating in school every day with government programs, and you're going to say the government don't do nothing for me. Why I ain't voting? And they'll tell you that straight out. Yeah, they'll tell you that straight out. Now, and when she laid out to these women, and this did not happen to one neighborhood, one house. This happened at multiple doors that we went to, and that's why I kept telling people. Y'all know I said this. I said we need to go to the hood. We need to spend this money in the hood to educate our people. And I hate to say it, but when people, y'all remember when Bill Clinton ran, and everybody said that Clinton was a racist because he had his welfare to work policy that he was attacked. Even Jesse Jackson attacked him about it. And just to know that he was telling the truth. Yeah. We need to tell our black people the truth, and it may hurt. And too many of our people have gotten to this thing of gimme. And y'all know I'm saying the truth. But too many people are afraid to hit our people between the eye with the truth. Yeah. So this is why the Putin campaign, and if you read the Mueller report, and I keep telling people, read. Damn it, you went to school, read. The Mueller report laid out crystal clear what their goal is. to go to the black neighborhood, and they make it clear they're going to the hood to recruit these people and to put in the minds of people how bad the economy was for black folks under under Obama and everybody else, and then the thing, and they did exactly that. Yeah. And that's what we all have ran into, all these N-words, that they focus on two things. That measly $1,200 thing, and the economists allegedly was better under them, and the government don't do anything for you. What did I always say? What do you have to lose? That's what he said. What do you have to lose? And they cemented that in our people's head, and they sit there with that foolishness. And then you go there, and they don't even vote. They don't want you to vote. They want you to stay home there like that. They don't want you to vote. So they could convince you that the government does nothing from you. And if you ever talk to these black nationalists always say, why are you voting? And y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Black nationalists and these N-words for Trump are the people that's out there spreading this poison. And I attack the Democrats, and I attack our people, I attack our ministers, but not attacking people and bringing it out.
Louis, let me cut in a minute. We run out of time. I just want to acknowledge some of the people that made comments and were watching today. Alina, of course, thank you for your comments. And Ira, who's my neighbor, Jake, lived right down the street. And the people that were watching, Shannon, Mayor Glover was on here. Dolores Lewis, Colonel, our cousin from Georgia. And Patricia Ricks, my classmate from IC Norcom, and I think saw a comment from Shelby Audrey. Thank you for your comments and your watching. And before we go off, I just wanted to, this has nothing to do with the comments, but this guy always back in the 70s was somebody I used to love to listen to. And just to say, let me play this right quick.
Yesterday, I'm digging through the rubble. And to say the least, somebody went to a hell of a lot of trouble to make sure that when we looked things up, we wouldn't fare too well. And we would come up with totally unreliable pictures of ourselves. But I compiled what few facts I could, such as they are, to see if we could find out a little bit of something. And this is what I got so far. First, white folks discovered Africa. They claimed it fair and square. Cecil Rhodes couldn't have been robbing nobody because, hell, there wasn't nobody there. The white folks brought all the civilization because there wasn't none around. How could the folks be civilized when wasn't nobody writing nothing down? And just to prove all of their suspicions, well, didn't take too long. They found out that there were whole tribes of people in plain sight running around with no clothes on. That's right. The men, the women, the young, and the old righteous folks covered their eyes, and no time was spent considering the environment. Hell no, this just wasn't civilized. And another piece of information they had, or at least this is what we were taught, is that unlike the civilized people of Europe, these tribal units actually fought. And yes, there was some crude implements, and yes, there was primitive art, and yes, they were masters of hunting and fishing, and courtesy came from the heart. And yes, there was love and medicine, religion, intertribal communication by drum, but no paper, no pencils, and no other utensils. And hell, these folks never even heard of a gun. And this is why the colonies came, to stabilize the land, because the dark continent had copper and gold, and the discoverers had themselves a plan. They would discover all the faces with promise. You didn't need no titles and deeds. Then they would appoint people to make everything legal, to sanction the trickery and greed. And back in the jungle, when the natives got restless, they would call it guerrilla attack. And they would never describe that the folks finally got wise and decided that they would fight back. And still, we are victims of word games. Semantics is always a bitch. Places once referred to as underdeveloped are now called mineral rich. And the game goes on eternally. Unity kept just beyond reach. Egypt and Libya used to be in Africa. They've now been moved to the Middle East. There are examples galore, I assure you. But if interpreting were left up to me, I'd be sure every time folks knew this version wasn't mine, which is why it is called His Story.
Okay, that was Gil Scott-Heron and from back in the 70s. And whenever I get frustrated, like we were talking about today.
Okay,
I go back and I go back and listen to him. Go back and listen to him because some of the things he said, you remember the revolution would not be televised, and people kind of missed that, what he was actually saying. It won't be televised because the revolution will be up here in our heads. People were saying, well, what, y'all gonna kill the cameras and all that? No, the revolution is gonna be here. So that's where we're gonna have to fight back now. We're gonna have to use this because this last time they were playing chess, we were playing checkers. And we got to make those chess moves the next 4 years to make sure we get this thing back on track. Anyway, before we end, any last comments from the host, Tommy? Tommy is my cousin name for him. So the Colonel.
Yeah. So I'm gonna summarize, and it's gonna hit a lot of pieces, and I'm gonna do this weave like Trump does.
Do it better. Do it better than him.
I'm doing better. So you got Matt Gaetz wants to be the new attorney general. Totally unqualified, never been in the Justice Department, has had sex with underage girls.
Yes.
And so they don't want to release the report all of a sudden. You see the Speaker of the House said it this morning, yesterday, saying they don't release reports or investigate people that are not in Congress. What did they do
for the last 4
years? What did they do with Biden's son for the last 4 years? So so they're lying through their teeth. So that's one. You look at how the numbers in this election did not work out or make out. So you look at doing the early voting and all the bomb threats, doing the vet down there in Georgia and other places in the country, always in blue states. And the FBI traced that back to the Russians. And so that would go back to say, yes, this election, even though the numbers didn't work out, there's something fishy about the numbers. I'll say that right now. Two, the other thing with his new cabinets, they don't want to have FBI investigations because they know that none of these guys that they want to put up, and most of them are guys, old white guys, will pass a background check by the FBI. They want to skip all of that to put these cronies in to do to help further white supremacy and the three branches of service, because they have the White House, they have the Senate, and they have the House, and they're all white supremacists up there, all of them. And so, and then you look at your emails. First, it started with African Americans. You got these hate emails, and now over the weekend, Latinos and the LGBTQ folks, they're talking about, what's going on now? I get all these super hate emails and texts now, still been there. But you know what? You deserve it because you didn't get out and vote, and so you gave your country away. And the last thing too, we talking about those same women that are our people, or Black folks out there in the ghetto, what we call Section 8, and we talk about programs like WIC and all this other stuff that helps people. There are more people not of color on those programs than there are of color. So what happens is they want to destroy those programs. But you know what? I hate to say, this will be controversial what I say, let them eliminate those programs, because people have to hurt before they wake up. Some people you cannot educate until it affects them directly. And when I mean directly, when they're down on their last leg. So you have to have no food in the house, no roof on your head until they wake up. And so you have to take that piece out to where you got with Democrats. Sometimes you just got to let the house burn, because you keep propping them up. And case in point with the COVID checks, you propped him up the last time. Don't prop him up this time. Just say no, let the house crash and burn, and then with whatever, if there is any free media.
You know, if I get frustrated, like we were talking about today,
Start.
Yeah, you have to take this every day. This is what they did to you this week. Today, this is what they did. But you let the house burn. And sometimes you've got to burn just like the plague. Let it burn down.
And Colonel,
yep.
I agree with you 1,000%. And I know the clock is moving. So I just wanted and I want to say, I also want to thank the people who all wrote in and made the comments on the screen. And James, thanks for adding that to this to your event. That's very good. That the people can get their comments on. And I want to say happy birthday
especially that last comment that came from someone that has no melanin.
Yeah, that's excellent. I want to say happy birthday to Leah and enjoy your day. And I like to close with this. 12 years before Trump became president, scholars put out how he would be exactly like Hitler. 12 years before. Now, 12 years ago. 8 years ago, it was published for everybody to see it. It was done by a team of international scholars. Say how Trump is 25 points like Hitler. Anybody can look that up. He is doing it right now. And anyone who understands history understands this. Hitler got less than 2 to 5% of the vote the first time his party ran in Germany. The next time it got like 18 or 20%. The third time it was a charm. And I'm just saying now we're in the third time of Trump. Now, what happened in the third time of Hitler? We had World War II. Wake up, America. Wake up, people. This may be our last stand. And that's why we have to open up those files so that we can force the situation where we cannot let this man walk in office again. Donald Trump cannot walk into this office again on January 20th. Everything must be done to stop it. And if we don't do it, I'll be waving at y'all from Canada. And that's no joke. So, James, thanks again for letting me come on the show. I appreciate it. And Colonel, you own the money. You are on the money. You are on the money.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it. And thanks, Lewis, for being our guest host, a regular on the show. And thank you, Colonel, for your leadership on the Monday shows. And thanks, everybody, for watching. And make sure, if you're watching on Facebook or our YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share. And we want those comments like we had today, so you can participate in what we're talking about. And we also open up to having you come on, the people that make comments, come and join us in the discussion. So we're going to keep on having these discussions and hopefully come up with solutions. And the more people we have involved in the discussion, the better. You know, it helps us along. Let me put this last. Okay, just wanted to put the last comment up by Patricia Ricks, who was IC Northern grad anyway. But thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.